ShopTalk NC show. It's pretty much the man cave edition today. You know what I mean? We ain't got none of the ladies here. They all doing their own thing. Much success to it. You know what I mean? It's your man 58 South in the building. Couple of my player partners in this thing.
You know, Buck as always.
Diablo.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of them episodes.
Yeah.
For sure. Fellas, how was y'all week, man? How y'all doing?
Great for me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I'm alive.
I'll do
You
this,
know,
man.
give thanks to the man above.
For sure, for sure. As always, since recently, I always say we're gonna start with love, lead with love. So happy birthday, wedding anniversary, divorces if that's what you wanted to do. You know what I mean? Find out you're graduating on time. Congrats.
Yeah, congrats for sure. I don't think, personally, I don't think I have no happy birthdays this week. I'm sorry if I.
Let me give a birthday shout out to Danielle Catus.
Okay.
It's her birthday today.
That's what's
Happy
up.
birthday.
My aunt Yvette Meadows, happy birthday, baby. Her birthday was the 7th. I thought it was the 10th, so I was late on the phone call.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Well, better late than never.
yeah.
You know, we keep it moving just like
For sure,
that. You
for
know,
sure, for sure.
Players mess up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Players do mess up from time to time.
Oh man. So you know, we can go and get the elephant in the room out the way. You know, condolences to Earl, DMX, Simmons, and his family.
Yes.
Major loss for the hip hop community, but the loss is even greater to his family.
Of
You know what I'm
course.
saying? Don't ever overlook that part. I think they said he had like 15 children.
Mm-hmm.
By 11 different ladies or whatever, so that's gotta be, he's
Yeah.
clearly the primary breadwinner,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So, condolences to the family. What does
Will truly be missed.
and what did DMX mean to you?
Well, for my era, he was a trendsetter. Like I say, for my era, you know, for you know what I mean, early '90s, you know what I mean, mid '90s, he was that rough rider. You know what I mean? So you can never go wrong with DMX.
How'd you first, I guess, I don't want to say hear about him, but when were you first introduced to him? Like, you was still like flipping through channels. You know what I mean? That's the TV with the remote, kid. Yeah. So you was flipping through channels and you seen the Get At Me Dog video, or was it something else?
Man, I couldn't tell you. You're talking about almost
I think-
26
I know.
years ago.
I think
So,
for me, I believe it was either a Clue Tape or Funk Master Flex, maybe. Somewhere up in there. Can't 100%, like you said, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I can't 100% pinpoint it. I do want to say like a Clue Tape, I think is where, you know, I kind of rewinded it.
Yeah, cool.
Kids
Drama.
rewinded it.
Yeah.
I had to push buttons that sound very loud. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Long
I
time
don't know
ago.
nothing about that.
Okay, so let me ask this. Being as though the 90s was built for as hip hop and rap goes, the 90s was actually built on talent and having to stand out. By standing out, I meant you couldn't sound like, you couldn't mimic, you couldn't do what somebody else did
Nah.
and receive any respect for it. So in a time where individuality was the focus, what about DMX did you gravitate toward?
I liked his originality of who he was, you know. From day one, he's really never, you know what I mean, put a facade on of his addiction, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, but for his music and his catalog, he made anthems for the streets. You know, if you was a D-boy, hustler, or however you wanna, you know what I mean, put that category on, but for that time and era back then in the 90s, you know, a lot of us was in the streets, but those was your street anthems, you know what I mean? Like the song, I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up.
One of the
You know
hardest
what I
jumps
mean?
ever
Yeah,
made.
so you know, but in that era and that time then, you could relate because like now today, a lot of the music now is like popcorn rap. You know, I mean, I guess the times now today has changed so much for the new generation, and then when we really was coming up, we really, our times was a little different more than back then. You know what I mean? Back then was more different than now, how it is now.
Well, just to push back a little bit on the changing of the times part, yes, I believe that wholly and truthfully, but as far as people still being vulnerable in their music, like you said, you like X for not hiding his addiction and things of that nature. These kids ain't grow up like that. So what they talking about and how they're emotionally invested in everything. Like they wear their emotions on their sleeve these days.
Yeah.
If that's how you grew up, then that's how you grew up. I can't knock that. I don't got to listen to it or like it. But I appreciate you for not lying about it, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like the Juice WRLDs and all them kids with the extra emotional songs.
Well, you got to remember, like, an old school told me a long time ago. It's from the generations. The ball has been dropped from generation to generation. You know, it's like every 5-year gap is another generation. Cause like when you was 10 and maybe when I was 15, you know, you looked up to the next what's the name that was already above you. You know what I mean, ahead of you. Yeah. So what they did influence you as you was coming up, and then when you got to the age, what's the name, your influenced the ones that's behind you, but the ball was dropped. Because now today, how things go about, you know, the stage of what we're gonna say for is hustling. Everything is a hustle. If you're trying to get $1, you hustle.
Right. Yeah.
So the whole issue of the ball, when I say the ball had been dropped, no one really gave a playbook to how this thing is now today in the world. Right. Like all the gang violence, all of the things, but really and truly ain't nobody really got nothing on their mind for us. What are you gonna instill and make a foundation for you for later on down the road? You know, everybody thinking it's for the moment, but it's not for the moment. Because if you got kids, anybody on the pod, if you got kids, it's not about you anymore.
Yeah, no.
It's about your youngins. And you got to teach them the right way so later on down the road they can tote on your legacy. You know what I mean? And quit trying to live everybody else's legacy. Everybody is trying to do something for the Joneses. But the Joneses, at the end of the day, is not going to be there to take care of you when you get old and gray and you can't wipe your ass or, excuse my language, or do anything for yourself, anything. Find someone that's going to be true and genuine to you. You know what I mean? Because life is more than about $1. Even though the way they have it set up is set up the way you got to make money.
Yeah, we live in a capitalist society. Ain't no getting
that's
around
what it is.
Yeah,
Capitalism.
getting around.
That's all it is. You know, but for DMX, like you said, I feel for his family. You know, I watched was it on Facebook or it was on Instagram when they was, I think Master P was talking about for his, not rehabilitation, but for his, like, there's plenty of people that could have helped X over the years, what's saying, you know what I mean, that you saying that he died from an addiction and a heart attack, but out of all the people that's got money that was around him, even though he had his own money and it's hard to tell a grown man what to do, you know what I mean, for it, but if you really and truly love someone, you still, you grab him under, you know what I mean, put him under your wing, you know what I mean, because he had a demon that he been living with for years. Since he was a kid, since he was a young man.
He said 14 when he smoked that first move, right?
Yeah, first move. That's like Wu-Tang Clan. A lot of them was on the Wu, but back then, you got to remember New York, them areas upstate, a lot of people, that's what they were smoking Judy Five. That's what they call it. You know what I mean? But to each his own, you know, but what was Get Rich or Die Trying. Remember what Supreme said, one thing about it, never take the draws off this bit. Excuse my language again, but you know what I mean, never take the draws off.
No, not Supreme. His name was Majesty on
Majesty
But
on
but everybody knew we were supposed to
been
do.
the Supreme, you know what I
I
mean?
just don't want to get sued for that.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. But you know,
Majesty.
but you know, but the whole thing is, you know,
Majestic, my bad, not
majestic, yes. But the same thing, like Rick James said, cocaine is a hell of a drug. You know what I mean? But they can talk about weed all day, what's name, but weed is nothing like cocaine, ice, heroin, you know what I mean? Whatever type of drug choice that you pursue, just know what you're doing when you're doing it. You know?
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not for me. That's not for
Good luck. Everything ain't for everybody for real. Good
for
luck.
real life.
Yeah. And that was another thing I was gonna touch on when they were saying about that, you know, they call them, some people are functioning addicts.
Yeah,
Functioning
yeah,
addicts.
yeah.
That's what they
I know
call
a lot
them.
of people like that.
Yeah, and I know some very successful people.
Very
I mean, they get up in the morning, they do their thing, they might have a suit on, and they
never skip a
shoot
beat.
right out, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They do it, they don't let it do them.
Do
You
them.
know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
pretty much what that boils down to in a nutshell. But as far as the question that you asked, what gravitated me towards DMX was actually the more simplistic side of it, because I first wanted to know who was this dude growling and barking
Right,
on this album.
right.
Who is this dude? Because it was hot.
Yeah.
It wasn't like corny, like it was hot.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying? The next thing you know, everybody, you hear them in the club, everything, they start growling and barking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was definitely a trend-setting situation. Like,
Is it safe to say DMX is responsible for the large majority of people owning pit bulls now?
no. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, well,
I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
man.
I'm
I
not
didn't
gonna
see him
say-
like that.
I'm not
I
gonna
never
say
saw him
the
like that.
majority. I'm not gonna
No,
say
because
majority.
I'm gonna say for in the era when I was coming up,
It was always Rottweilers. Don't
Rottweiler-
miss
it
had
was-
their run too.
it was always Dome Pictures had their run
And
too.
your grandma had a German Shepherd. Somebody know an old lady with a German Shepherd.
That's the house you don't want to break
Right,
into.
that's the last house.
That's the house you don't
If
want
the
to break
ball go in that yard,
But nah,
don't even worry about it.
I knew I knew major breeders and everything before, way before DMX. This is when I was little.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So in my experience.
But back then though, you know, you got to remember too though, a lot of people didn't like pit bulls because the aggressiveness of them. So, you know what I mean? Even though back then you was talking about early 90s, I can remember when I was a kid, the 80s, even in the 70s. I never had a pit bull in the 70s. I think my first dog was a Doberman Pinscher.
Well, see, the thing about what made the pit so popular is like, say, you didn't want to have no puppies, but your dog ended up getting hit, like getting loose and getting pregnant.
Yeah.
People would give the dogs away
Give them away.
because they don't even want to deal with all that puppy
Yeah,
mess.
but
You know what I mean?
I don't know what
People
made
just
pit
give 'em
bulls really the hot topic though for us in that era.
Yeah.
I don't. DMX, like you said, Boomer was his man. Boomer was his pit.
Yeah.
But
Well, the dudes on the West Coast, they had the Nick Arenas.
yeah,
Most of the guys around here either had red nose or
yeah, it was red nose pits back
yeah,
then.
it was mostly red noses. But then different areas you had the gator mouth, and you have you know what I'm saying. It depends on where you were from on the map. And then they started super breeding when DMX came out. That's when people was like meeting people halfway across the country just to mate with a certain dog.
Yeah,
My first encounter with a pit bull, my cousin David, shout out to Crop, David Chad was had the cook. He had a red nose named Cannabis. He's about that tall.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like he lift weights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, I don't know what the fuck this is, but I want one. I want one of them.
I think my first pit was a red nose. Her name was Africa. But like you said, it was just the facade of what people put out for pits back then. You know what I mean? Because they was aggressive. You know, they was known to bite you.
Well,
Yeah, but they get their temperament from whoever is
Yeah.
owns them, you know what I'm saying?
And then you got to also remember though, you know what I mean, if we're not getting off of the subject, but back then though, people didn't really know how to make dogs. It's like you making in the same bloodline, so the dog supposed to be crazy.
They're retarded. They're retarded.
Yeah.
And then also too, people want to give them a bad name.
Yeah.
That ain't your yard. So just don't walk in that dog's
That's
yard.
all you gotta do.
And
Cause he has a territory.
And don't reach your hand down and tell me, oh, he's so cute. No, that's a grown ass dog.
Grown ass dog.
That's a grown ass
Short
dog.
to bite you.
Yeah.
I hate when people ask, do it bite? I say, it got teeth.
Right.
I mean,
That's just like a bear.
Yeah, right.
Or
Exactly.
a tiger. You know what I mean? Yeah. You see.
When people ask me that question, they be like, well, do she bite? I be like, not me.
right.
You feel me?
I feel it every day.
Yeah, that's my dog.
We cool.
Yeah.
I get it. All right.
R.I.P.
For sure.
My man.
R.I.P.
Drink that.
R.I.P. X, man. Oh, take a little sip. The fact that he was willing to bear his soul on the albums with addiction and everything. In hindsight, now that he's passed from said addiction, how much onus do we put on the label heads and the people that are responsible for getting the music out? Like, okay, case in point. Remember how everybody used to be like, we don't like Happy Mary J. Blige music. We like the Mary J. that's going through some shit.
Well, because it's the pain.
Boom.
Right, yeah, I'm with you on that.
His pain was a different level of damn pain.
It was also a different level of talent, too.
Right.
Okay. Okay, blame is a
Not gonna say blame. I just want
I'm
to,
sorry.
let's use, because that sound like, that's a cop-out word, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's trying to say they're responsible for what this grown man
right,
did.
right, yeah.
Not gonna use that word, I'm sorry. We'll use responsibility / accountability.
Okay.
Because if you're producing, and I know what you're producing and what's making you produce this, but at the end of the day, everything you're producing is making me profit. So
Right.
I don't give a damn what the label pains look like. Just bring me the baby.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a stiff one. Cause, all right, the way I started thinking about it is knowing everything. Well, I don't know him personally, but everything music wise and interview wise that I have seen, he is very, very, very strongly opinionated, and I don't think there's no way they could have told him nothing other than what he was about to do. And their best bet was to just produce the music. So accountability, yeah, they just didn't have a choice. Is the way I feel about it, because as a matter of fact, I watched the documentary and he wasn't taking no for an answer. If he wanted to do it his way, he's gonna do it his way. Period.
So no more.
Period.
They gave him the lane to be him.
That's the what's catch-22 of it all. Like when you hear certain artists be like, well, the label is making me do this, so I didn't even want to put that song out. The label making me do that. And that's when it come back to bite you in the ass when you can't control your whole situation.
Right.
They're giving you the freedom
That's why
to do whatever and whatever.
That's why the Locks left Bad Boy, because they didn't have no creativity. He wanted the shiny suits and everything, but they was for the streets.
Right.
You know, but I watched that the other night. They had it on BET. You know, but it was with DMX, Eve, the Locks. You know what I mean? Dragon.
Yeah.
You know, they just had all them. You know what I mean? And they were just speaking upon it. Cause I watched I think Dragon was on Facebook yesterday. I think he was on either Instagram or on what's name, but he was on there. You know, he was, you know what I mean, crying out his heart. You know what I mean? Hurt. You know what I mean? He was like, that was a man that took him from where he was at and brought him in. You know, so you know, and I remember. I don't know if y'all was around here at that time, but back in, like maybe 02, when we had them down here, we had Dragon and all them, we was all at Sugar Bears right here on, by Random Road.
Yeah.
You know, they used to be down
I
here.
got hit 03, but I'm familiar.
Yeah. I mean, but Dragon them, they was good people. I used to deal with them hard back then, but you know, but DMX, you know, I've been strolling over the last couple of days. I see so many people that be having pictures all through, you know what I mean, what's name, but like, man, I was with X. What's name, but he was just a down to earth person, you know what I mean? No matter the fame and the glory, you know what I mean? He wasn't one of the ones that walked around here, had to buy the biggest chain and all the dime, what's name?
No, his chain was really a chain.
Yeah.
His chain was really a chain. Like,
really a chain. You know?
His chain was really, I just thought about that. His chain was really a chain.
He had the real dog chain, boomer jump, you know what
Uh-huh.
I mean? But I respect the man though, you know what I mean, for who he was, you know what I mean? Life was short for him. For 50 years old, really, it was a short life.
Sure,
man.
yeah.
You know,
Well, this made me also think about how, you know, how people always contemplate about what it would have been like had Pac and Biggie still been alive, right?
What?
And the thing about that with me is the way they left, as far as where they were at in their careers, they left on high notes. Nobody ever died on high notes, so I don't want it to seem like that, but they left on high notes. They didn't have the time or the technology to actually fuck up in front of everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we could all.
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Look, it had the technology back then. Been like that'd been way worse than what it was back.
Cause we might have found out some stuff about them two guys that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know.
know. That's deep too.
We really don't know, man. And cause the more and more you just look at what DMX meant to a lot of different people, is as much as people hold Pac in a high regard,
Mm-hmm.
DMX is just as iconically
Oh,
strong.
yes,
like,
definitely.
But
Well, actually, he's a little stronger because he had more time to manifest his craft.
Yeah.
Tupac and Biggie died so early,
But
25.
Yeah.
But I guess people put Pac at that level because of his body of work. You know what I mean? A lot of people in the industry, if you look at the industry period for us, you know what I mean, the grind and what's saying, I watch the Tupac movies, what's saying, when they say Pac used to come in the studio
Oh yeah.
and he gonna knock out tracks.
Like 8 songs a night
You
or
know what I mean?
something.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
But a
incredible.
lot of people
They can't.
ain't on that
They don't
motivation,
have
on
to
that
drive.
drive. You know what I mean? Where
That's
you
a
know
lot
what
of work.
I mean? Like you said, Pac come in. I watch like what Suge said on the movie was saying. He said, "Man, Pac done came in here and knocked out 3, 4, 5 songs. That's the energy, the drive to get that money, you know." But man, like you said, now today, I've been watching like Pies on Instagram, Facebook. Today the music is. I just heard Jim Jones was talking about the body of work, where now companies and stuff, they're not worrying about the body of work. They're not worrying about, you know what I mean, whether you got lyrics or not. They just want to know what numbers they can do with
That's
you.
it.
And
Yeah,
really a lot of them just talking about a bunch of nonsense. Don't have no word, no kind of, that's like, what's the new song that everybody playing right now? Oh, she's a runner, she's a track star.
Oh,
God, what's this? Hold on, we ain't gotta
I
get.
know,
Hold on.
right?
But one thing about it,
Moski.
but-
Let me make sure I get this man.
but guess what though? He's gonna be a one-hit wonder.
That's all. It don't matter. Long as it
But
streams.
that's
Long as
what
it
I mean.
streams.
But look at in the history. Look at how many one-hit wonders, and then we wonder why you never hear from them no more. You never hear from them no more.
Hey,
Because like right now, even though when he talking about that song, he ain't talking about nothing.
that's fine.
We talking about a female.
But I'm saying,
But-
but what's gonna be the next big hit?
But this the thing though. I see what you saying, but the fact that a billion rappers or singers are created, it seems like every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Here's one song, that's cool for right now. Cause you got time to go make another one.
But it's history.
Yeah,
it's gonna be history.
It's history. And there's certain people that are here 20 years from now, like, yo, you remember that? And certain people are like,
but
nah, no.
But that's just like how it was when they found out about million.
Well, no. I was young, but I remember that. We watched that fucker.
We watched that. Yeah.
Like, come to take skipping.
All the lip syncing. Yeah.
Girl,
But,
know it's girl, you know. Say yo.
But the whole thing is lyrically, there's how they say there's no music like the '90s music.
I can't agree with that. I actually think this is the best time in music. You wanna know why?
Why you say that?
Because if there's something that you don't like, you do not have to listen to that ever again. You can create your own playlist. You can actually construct your own musical world. I love this time.
Okay, we understand you can make your own play world, but for us, back then we didn't have that. For like you said, the technology, the way you can set up and have playlists.
Exactly. So we had to listen to whatever they was pushing, and if we liked it, cool. But if we didn't like it, they were still gonna play it at 7:30 on Wednesday. You know that's how
but you gotta remember though, back then though, it was more real music on the radio, and it was more before like now today. Like the DJs, it was always mixtapes.
Yeah.
It was Clue, Drama. You know what I mean? Craig G.
So you talking more to the. They used to break artists through the DJs back then.
Through the DJs.
Now
that's on the radio.
Yeah, you just throw it out there and somebody play it if you pay the right people.
When you heard say, yo, you heard such and got a new joint? What you heard that on? Oh man, that was on DJ Drama or Cool Joint or you know what I mean? What's the name? S&S.
It meant something depending on how it got broken.
How it got broken into the, you know what I mean, the environment.
I got you.
So, you know, but now today, you hear something on the radio, but only thing I don't like about our radio syndicate here, I don't like the same rotation. It's so much other music out here. I don't like the fact that they play the same thing over and over and over and over.
You're gonna have that problem with every station minus the top 40 stations, like
you got the alternate,
like 99.5. You'll hear a bunch of different joints because their audience is an older demographic, so they got a bunch of music to pull from.
Yeah. And I listen to, what is that, like 100, 103? They play a different, a lot of different vast majority of
Shout out to my old employers. iHeart Media.
But for the most part though, I'm gonna go up to New York. I'm be in New York this week. See what's going on with the DMX. It's so much love. It's gonna be lit. As long as it's warm outside, I know it's gonna be plenty dirt bikes, 4-wheelers.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I might get to New York. I might buy me a dirt bike or a 4-wheeler while I'm there. You know what I mean? Leave it at one of my family members' house or something. Be like, hey, because I know it's gonna be lit.
Oh, it's gonna be.
It's gonna be lit. You know
I'm
what I
wondering
mean?
if they're gonna do something like maybe South Carolina or Phoenix also.
Arizona.
I'm not sure.
Rough Riders is worldwide.
Yeah, but you can live in them two spots I just talked about.
So. Yeah, but I watched the joint the other night, and they was talking about the brand of the Rough Riders, and Rough Riders is all through the world.
Oh yeah.
People fail to realize that.
International.
I watched where they tried to brand one thing, then they tried to brand another thing, but one thing about it, when they branded the Rough Rider logo, everybody that ride motorcycles, dirt bikes, everybody got a Rough Rider, you know what I mean, type logo on or something, but it's a deep movement. But really they bring you back to the Rough Riders, that's some down south shit. Cause you know what I mean, we was the ones that down south that really rode the dirt bikes in the woods, you know what I mean, the 4-wheelers, but then that migrated, like a lot of people think, oh, New Yorkers, all New Yorkers, they from.
Oh yeah. every black person you see, you trace their roots. They
from somewhere down south or across the water.
What David Banner say on that Mississippi album? Now bring your ass on back home.
There you go.
Bring you on back home. Yep, that's true. That's
true. Most discernible and iconic voice in hip hop is DMX. You know it when you hear it. Don't nobody else. Can't nobody else mimic it. As much as they used to talk about that whole Ja Rule beef, like they never sounded
nothing like.
They never sounded the same.
That's just like Nas.
When you hear him, you know him.
And big up to him too.
Jeezy the same way.
Well, Jeezy,
same way.
He do got somebody that sound like him.
Who?
Because that was part of his group.
Who?
Blood Raw.
Nah, I don't hear it. Blood Raw. If anything, Blood Raw to me sounded like a down south freeway because of the high pitch whenever he was rapping.
Well, when I say Blood Raw, I listen to the ad libs and the delivery of the flow.
Me
if
too.
You listen to it, really, he is not a Jeezy, but the aspect of the flow is more of a Jeezy type flow.
Well, I mean, you could probably attribute that to being around each other.
Because we got to remember they was Bad Boy South when they first came out.
No, not Blood Raw though.
Blood Raw was part of what's name?
He was never on Boys in the Hood though.
He was?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was part of the Boys in the Hood.
He came after.
He was never on Boys in the Hood. You thinking about Gorilla Zoe maybe?
Yeah, I remember Gorilla Zoe.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Jody Breeze, Big Gee, Big Duke. Then it was Gorilla Zoe replaced Jeezy in that joint, in the Boys in the Hood joint.
Oh yeah, okay. So you know what I mean. But I've been on his music the last maybe, you know what I mean, for a few months now. But when I listen to it, it give me that Jeezy.
Oh, that cause they came up. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get
that
it.
Jeezy anthem. You know what I mean? I love anthems. I don't like some of the new music. It's not anthems.
And you don't gotta listen to it. See?
Playlist. They're not anthems, you know what I mean? And a lot of things is, I don't, for this new music, really, I can't do that bang bang, that gang gang shit, how people keep talking about all that.
I'm gonna introduce you to some artists when this is over, so you ain't gotta keep talking about what you don't like.
Yeah. Because, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, though, people got to realize, you know what I mean, and we've been talking about this for years, though. You know, we quick to kill off each other for us black people. You know what I mean? All this game, but I remember back in the days, we might have had little posses, you know what I mean, stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like when I was growing up, when I was in South Carolina for 2 years, we had the starter posse and we had the uptown posse, you know what I mean? But then when I was growing up, my cousin Doughboy, you know what I mean, Ray, God bless the dead, you know what I mean, all us, we had the Q-Dogs. And we was in.
I must got into a lot of fights with them purple niggas.
Yeah. We used to bang out all the time. But you know, I just look at it now today though. You know what I mean? It's like everybody jumped off path. Everybody be talking about a bag or trying to get a bag and everything. But how can you get a bag if you bring heat to the hood and everywhere you go to get a bag? You run the money out because now your block is hot and you can't get no money.
There you go.
You know? So the whole thing is just
standing around.
Y'all motherfuckers standing around twiddling their thumbs and shit, you know what I mean? I'm like, you ain't got to get a job now because right now since unemployment put everything on what's name, everybody getting these PPEs and all this shit. But I want y'all to understand now, ain't none of this shit for free. Because you definitely gonna have to pay it back. You know what I mean? So everybody that think you running scams and you got that bag and everything, I hope you from 5 years, at least for the next 5 years, maybe 10 years. I hope you understand now. Now when shit come back and you be like, well, why are these people ordering than me? Why are they coming through and taking my shit, taking my cars, taking my house? Because people don't understand. You got to know the law and know what's going on. When you start fucking with the government is the biggest hustlers in the world. United States. They are United States. When we say united, that means every state has its own laws, and they came together and they became United States. But one thing about it, you gonna pay them motherfuckers, who are they?
PPE loan?
No, the government people. You gonna pay DC the fuck back. Period.
He said,
I don't care how you look at it, what's that, everybody. Listen, I was just talking to, I was in, don't mean to get off the subject, what's that, I was in the T-Mobile store maybe like 2 weeks ago. I was talking to this little shorty, and we were just kicking it. You know, I came in, I was on my little ankle braces, I was in the house for, a month. But, so I went to go cut the phone back on. So we were sitting around talking. She was talking about a homeboy. She was like, cause I went in, I pulled my money out, and she was looking at me when I pulled my money out, and I was like, yeah, this ain't that unemployment, this ain't none of that PPE loan shit, everything that everybody keep doing.
You was stunned in T-Mobile, alright.
Nah, I just went in to go pay my bill. My bill was about $300, so I had to pull my money out. So she was like, yeah, my homeboy, he just, got a loan for like 200,000, something like that. I was like, yeah. She was like, but I was like, well, he did. I said, what did he do with his money though? She was like, he went and bought a Hellcat. I said, well, that's his first fuck up. Cause what did you go buy a Hellcat for? That Hellcat ain't gonna put no goddamn money in your pocket. That's just something to drive. And then when you drove it off the lot, you probably paid 70, 80 bands for it, but guess what? When you drove it off the lot, guess what it dropped to? Probably about 60. You know what I mean? Probably lost about 15 bands as soon as you drove off the lot. Then I drove it a few weeks or whatnot, it's gonna drop down lower than that. So the thing it is when you making positive moves for everybody, we saying free money, everybody screaming free money. It might be free money right now, but what are y'all doing to capitalize off the free money? That's the issue. What are you doing for business-wise to take it to the next level? See, they running around now, that's all everybody want to do. They all on these trips, they all in Miami, they all in California, they in Vegas, they here and there. But at the end of the day, when these people come through to audit your business to really see what your account and your business account has really been doing in the last year, the 2 years, and you really don't have nothing to show for it, because let me tell y'all something. Everything has a paper trail. Everything. If it's not illegal and it's legal, it's got a paper trail. If you got to file that tax ID number, and your social and stuff linked to it, I best believe now everybody out here and they swear they living this life, they balling. But I'm gonna give y'all a real outline. Don't never think that the government gonna give you something for free, because it's never for free. You weren't born in this world free. So you would never be free. So, I want people to take that and run with it and know what you're doing once you filing for this stuff, because people fail to realize the younger crowd now that they are doing all these PPE loans and this stuff to get this money. But you got to remember, you got to live through life. And eventually, as you're using that social security number, because that is your mark of the beast, it's going to catch up to you sooner or later. It takes time. You got to remember, so many people in the United States, it takes time for when they start doing paperwork and auditing and stuff and going through and looking into certain businesses that they don't gave $2 and $3 and $500,000, $1 million for, to see if these people really had legitimate businesses. But they've been pump faking like they really had a business. But before the pandemic, never really had a business, never really had no money in a business name, in the business bank account name, but you went and filed for a loan and they gave you a loan that you think that you ain't got to pay back. No, that's not how it works.
But look, It sounds like you about to start naming names and just getting.
No, we just saying in general because I just look at over the time and period of since this pandemic, it's been going on through the United States, and I know so many people that they swerving down, they got this bag and they doing this and that, but you know you gotta think for your future. You can be in your 20-something, 30-something or something, but what you gonna do by the time you 50-something and you probably done accumulated and bought something, and these people come through and hit you with paperwork and come through and take everything that you tried to establish, but you established it the wrong way. You know, because there are right ways and wrong ways. You know what I mean? We might get out here and hustle and everything, but when we do hustle, we know it's wrong. You know what I mean? But under the eyes of the law, they say it's wrong. But under the eyes of the motherfuckers on the street,
under your ass getting locked up.
Yeah. We ain't never wrong. We ain't never wrong for what we do. For you know what I mean, trying to survive. Martin them told you everybody to say, you know what I mean. But by any means necessary, I'ma get it. No matter how you look at it. And no one, you know what I mean. Money is the root of all evil. You know, I've seen so many people change their lives and change who they are.
Not having money is the root of all evil. You ain't never seen a motherfucker with money do the same shit somebody did without money.
Yeah,
Not
that's true.
Money
That's
is the root of all evil.
Both ways. Because some motherfuckers to get money still motherfuckers do the dumbest shit in the world and didn't even have to be in that position to do that, you know? Because I've seen a lot of rich people.
That's where you ain't never supposed to do nothing desperate, man.
That's true.
You're never supposed to do nothing out of desperation, man. But look, we're gonna get out here and enjoy some of this California.
Where we going?
Enjoy some of this Carolina weather.
You bringing it up. Where we going? We need to get there.
We'll talk about that.
All right.
Yeah. But look, man, thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate my partner Diablo for following through. I appreciate you both.
No doubt.
Man, you got social media or something you want to hit you on?
Nah, I'm kind of private out the way. You know, I don't do too much of the social media things. I might come through and scroll through, but I ain't hitting on nothing. I ain't trying to make no fuss. I learned my lesson a long time ago.
Hey, my man, boy had to take care of something. You know, he had a phone call or whatever. So holla at my man on Instagram at trillness_exist. That's Buck IG 58 South on everything. You know what I'm talking about? Hey,
you might hit me on Instagram. Hold on.
Now you got an Instagram.
Let me see if I got an Instagram. Let me see what mine is.
Now you got an Instagram.
Oh. How do I find mine?
That ain't you.
That's me, right there. Oh.
Nah. Good gracious.
What did you see? There, go that one.
That's you. That's your name on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm sucker free Diablo.
There you go.
If it's sucker free, SuckerFreeDiablo.
On Instagram, you know
on
what I
Instagram.
mean? And just like that, y'all have a good week. Thanks for tuning in. We out.
See you many more.